Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That Tom Clancy Show. What do you know? Somebody sitting here with two thumbs happens to be that Tom Clancy. That was terrible. I feel moderately bad for subjecting you to such a horrible joke, but at the same time, I really don't. So, got a good show for you today. Got a really cool guest. Can't tell you who it is, although I already told you who it is on social media, but it'll be cool in a sec. Other than that, it's very warm today. I'm slightly melting. So if I start, sinking, you know what's up. And if I stop talking all of a sudden, send dice. So without further ado, my guest today, I guess you could say he's a bit of a nerd. He streams on Twitch, he enjoys a good story, and he could even possibly be described as a bit of a theater kid. But he's joining us fresh off of one of his famous adventures, Bits and Pixels, Mr. Earl Balon.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, no problem, Earl. Thank you for being here. We had a bit of an issue with the camera, but I have a feeling that the stand-in I created for you is quite fun.
Perfect. It's so perfect.
Yes. Yeah, it really sells the image. I really hope that wherever you were adventuring before coming here was safer than that weapon implies.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Well, I haven't been actually out of my house IRL in like weeks, so.
Wow, I like left my house this morning with a mask,
Right.
of course.
During individual.
Well, yeah. I mean, you still gotta get things,
It's so true.
Yeah. Earl, Mike is not loud enough.
Ooh, what about now?
Oh, that's not a you issue. That is a me issue.
Oh.
1 second, people. Let me just go over here. Earl.
Yeah, test.
Is that better, everybody?
Can thou hearest me?
Well, your jumping lights over here seem to be much higher, so I'm gonna guess that hopefully your audio level is better. So,
Right.
Chat, is Earl better? Earl say something funny. I don't know.
'Twas brillig in the slithy toves did gear in gimbal in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogroves and the momraths outgrabe.
I feel like I should know what that poem is, but would it be possible for you to up the gain on your end? Because I've got you
Yeah,
maxed over here.
What about this?
Maybe a little bit more?
Sound, chat. How are we?
Yeah, a bit more is what I see coming from here.
Testes.
Maybe like an extra 5. Let's see. Can I
what about
boost
that?
you?
Ooh, I'm peeking on my end.
Let's see if I can boost you just a bit more.
Good. What about now? Okay.
I'm giving it all she's got, Captain.
Yeah. Scotty. Wait, the captain would never say Scotty. I mean, would not say Scotty in that accent.
It won't let me do it. Give it any more power.
Scotty. I need more power from the dilithium.
I'm sorry, Captain. I'm giving her all she's got. Just don't have the dilithium crystals.
Perhaps if we reverse the tachyon polarity, we could,
Yeah, but then I'd have to reroute power through the deflector array.
Very true.
God. I don't know. I'll fix...
love technobabble, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian, I see the show as smooth as ever. That's it. You're never invited on. So, hey. So, don't I beg you, Nick Choa, Liam Toos, we got Brian Cox in there too. How's everybody doing today? Thank you all for joining us. Earl, you are like the 5th person on the show that has been brought to us by Brian.
Oh, wow. Supporter right there, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah, right? Brian, I've turned him up all the way I can. I can't boost him anymore. What do you think I am? Some form of like real streamer that has a soundboard and production value, I'm a robot in a garage, sir.
I can try on my end,
Uh,
but I think I'm max as well right now.
Earl, use your theater voice is what Brian says. So I'm guessing he's
Use my theater voice.
yeah. So some
Can
some
you hear that?
some diaphragm, just
Are we getting a little distortion at all?
no, you're fine on my end.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so just like you're talking to the people in the back of the theater.
Yes, the people in the back of. I don't know why automatically assume an accent when I'm talking in my theater. I can just talk like this, like with my regular accent, and it's okay. There it goes. I've got it.
Yes,
I've got it on lock now.
when yeah, I feel you on because when you're on stage, it feels bigger and grander. Like you should
Right.
like have an accent, you know.
Like everything's a little heightened.
Yeah. Yeah. So was I super off in calling you maybe a bit of a theater kid?
No, no. I actually, I got started late with theater. I mean, if you consider it late, like high school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did a lot of theater. I minored in theater when I in college actually. So yeah, you could call me a theater kid.
Only a minor.
Yeah, only a minor. The thing is the minor at where I went to school. I went to UC Irvine, and the minor is like 5 classes short of the major. It's like it's it's like why'd they do this?
Wow. Yeah. No. Cause I was a major.
Oh, you nice. Where'd you go?
I went to this little teeny liberal arts school back in Maryland called Washington College.
Mm, cool, man. So yeah, you know the life. You know the theater life.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to this morning when I was doing the Pitcher Game Awards. That was like the first time I've really used my like theater stuff in a long time.
Right, right. That's
Because
gotta that's that must have felt good though, right?
it did because like this, I'm very clearly aside from, driving this character, also kind of playing up myself a little bit to give it more of like that internet friendly character. Uh
Mm,
but this is still very much just me being me. You know,
right,
just
right.
just just more me than usual. Uh but like scripting things uh like that's like I haven't done that in a long, or at least not in like a real capacity for a very long time. So
Right. That's cool though, dude. I mean, you know, I don't think it ever really leaves you,
no,
right?
no, I my for my day job, I work at a Starbucks about a mile away from my house. And
Whoa.
when I'm handing off drinks, the speaking from the diaphragm comes right back.
Right.
And it's just like I also I'm a certified trainer, so whenever I train people, I'm just like, all right, kid, this is how you
Right,
do
right.
it.
I
Like
mean, it's
you're speaking
right.
here, speak from here.
Speak from here, right? I mean, it's
Where's
a useful skill to have. I think a lot of people tend to, you throw out your voice, and it's in like everyday situations too. I know a lot of us haven't been in a bar in a while, but like when you're having a bar conversation and everything's loud, it comes in handy. Definitely, I think.
yeah, you can tell the next day who the theater people were and who the normal people were.
The normals.
Yeah, because
What
they're all
about
the
you,
next day like, I
normies?
can't talk, my voice is terrible. Whereas we're there at the office or whatever, like, hey, how's it going? You guys have a good time? Oh man,
Right.
Carl was wasted.
I know. Let's not talk about him, but he was wasted.
Well, we can't hear if he's talking about us right now because he doesn't know how to speak correctly.
Right. Exactly.
It's an interesting thing too because the speaking from the diaphragm is something they teach drill instructors in the military because a lot of people, like especially post Full Metal Jacket, everybody looks at Arlie Ermy and they associate that with drill instructors. for
Right,
better or
right,
worse, and there's a certain level of accuracy and inaccuracy to it as well. But
right.
everybody thinks that, they're just yelling, but they don't understand that, like there's a lot more work to it.
Mm. There definitely is. That whole diaphragm thing is a huge thing. I mean, this is kind of like traversing into nerdy stuff, but I mean, as as a singer, you don't want like vocal nodules. It's gonna be bad all around, and those come like super easy if you're overusing your voice constantly.
Yeah. As somebody who talks a lot, I understand.
Right.
Uh yeah. Man, I was not
Yeah.
expecting to like open the show with, well, Star Trek jokes and the finer points of theater voice control.
Right.
But, you know, every day's a new day.
Yeah.
And oh, that was fun. So well, again, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Uh
Thanks for having me, man.
yeah, man, it was really fun because uh like setting up your mannequin for the show, and I probably should have been doing this more often for other guests. So uh I sent Earl every mannequin I have access to with my asset packs, except for
Oh,
like the
I love
generic ones, because who wants to be a generic mannequin, right? You know. And he sends me back this guy, and he's just like, "Oh, if only I could have an axe." And I'm like, "I can get you an axe." I felt very John Goodman in in The Big Lebowski, like, dude, I can get you a toe.
it.
Yeah,
Right. I appreciate it. When you sent me that pack, I was like, "There's so much to choose from,"
I know.
and I was torn between a couple, but like in the end, I was like, "Come on." The dude with the purple purple shoulder guard and shirtless,
Oh yeah,
it's calling to
dude. I just wish that I could have a purple hoodie. I just, you know, because
me.
purple's one of my colors as well. But I mean, the blue does go very well with the CRT. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I dig it.
Yeah, now I just got to figure out how to do something on my face. But so more recently,
Right.
you have been the star by some measure of the Terminator.
That would be
God,
crazy.
that would be cool though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Guys, I've
It
got
totally
Mr. Earl Balon, the new Terminator.
would.
But of the Tomb Raider reboots, I've been watching a lot of Terminator clips on YouTube, and it's in my head.
Nice.
Yeah, dude,
It's not bad.
those movies are great. At least two of them, anyway.
Right, right. Absolutely. Those first two. Come on.
But I haven't seen Dark Fate. I want to see it. That does actually look promising to me.
I haven't watched it either. I have watched all the other ones. I was a little sad after watching Genesis because I had such high hopes for it.
Dude,
And
yeah, I saw the trailers for that, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a dumpster fire.
I
Cause
wish I
like,
was as astute as you.
well, it's the dude who played Kyle Reese, the I don't remember what his name is, but I don't care for him as a performer for the most part.
Right, right,
Although he was fun as Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad.
right.
Um,
Is it Thomas Jane?
no, 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 no. I love Thomas Jane.
No, you're right. I got
Yeah,
mixed up.
we don't say Jai Courtney.
Jai Courtney. I was like,
Yeah,
there's a J in there somewhere.
yeah. We don't speak ill of Marylanders on this show.
Fair, fair.
uh,
I
yeah.
Thomas Jane has had some of my favorite cameos in film, like the
Uh,
one his in uh
the Vegan
Scott Pilgrim.
Police.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it.
That was so great.
I
I
know.
just, God, I need to watch that movie again. Note
Oh,
to self: get anyone from Scott Pilgrim on this show. That would be excellent.
dude, that would be
Hey,
so
anybody know
awesome.
Edgar Wright? Put us in
I wish I
touch.
wish I could hook you up.
Dude, if I get hooked up, you could be a co-host, like, and our random co-host for the day, Mr. Earl Balon, you know,
Yeah.
because yeah, God, that'd be fun. That would be really. I wish we lived in the alternate universe where he didn't quit Ant-Man.
Right. I talk about that all the time. Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, we kind of got a bit of it with the toy train fight scene.
Right. Was that his like story beat? Like
Even if it wasn't, it screams Edgar Wright.
right. Right.
Especially the shot where Yellow Jacket is like cowering as the train is coming, and then you get that big wide shot, and it hits him and just falls off the track.
Oh, I love that. And
Like
he goes to
that's yeah, that's a perfect Edgar Wright moment. The only way it could be any better would be if Nick Frost and Simon Pegg were in it.
just showed up all of a sudden. You know that would have happened if if Edgar Wright had like directed this film. We would have gotten that cameo, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Simon Pegg got to do. Well, I don't. Was he busy with Star Wars at the time? Because he was probably shooting for at least 2 weeks on Star Wars.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
hi Nova, thanks for coming. Um, yeah. So you've had, with the exception of Tomb Raider, you've had like a really varied work history. Because I mean, you've been on TV, you've done work in games. Clearly, you've done some work in cinema, and also you did some voiceover dub work for that Japanese. I believe it was Japanese film, The Forest of Love.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Did
Um,
that too.
that's something that's always interested me, because it looks like, if you're looking at it without any form of understanding of voice work, that it would be pretty simple. You just, this
Right.
is the localization of the dialogue, and you just say it. But
Right.
I imagine it's not.
It is. It's really technical, actually. um, and I think a lot of that comes from, at least the attempt to match lip flap. So it's interesting. It's a little easier these days because there's this software called Voice Cue that kind of helps you line up dialogue with lip flap, and whoever's in the booth can change it like live to. There's a lot of rewriting involved with dub work. So we'll do a pass at a scene, and then they'll realize what's missing. Like we need more syllables here, or we need less syllables here, and they'll do live rewrites, and then you do the scene again. Again, trying to match lip flap and emotion and all that. It's actually, yeah, it's very technical. It's probably the most technical. Well, I don't have a lot of experience in promo, but it's some of the more technical voice work I've done.
You know, I imagine it's all going to get a bit simpler as deep fakes become more of a thing.
Yeah, I imagine
Yeah.
that you could just like, yeah, you could absolutely just you could re yeah, you could just redo somebody's face basically.
Yeah.
I,
Just, yeah. God, that's a frightening, but also a kind of amazing prospect.
right, right. I don't know if you remember this. Maybe a couple years ago, I think it was a Google keynote at I/O maybe, but they were showing off their new audio software, and I think they used
Oh,
Jordan Peele as an example, where
yeah.
they just had like a catalog of like his speech patterns, and then they could take text and then like assign it like a deepfake style, but to audio, spoken
Yeah.
audio.
That also reminded me of the deep fake that Jordan Peele made of President Obama,
Right,
with
right.
him doing President Obama. Dude, he does one of the best Obama impressions.
He really does. He really does.
Because
Um,
yeah, well, I mean, so much of the imitation too, as a voice worker, I'm sure you know, is it's not just the tone, but
mhm,
it's the way people speak.
mhm.
Like
It's fiction. It's their pace.
mhm,
All that stuff.
the places that they take pauses.
Right. Yeah. He's got that great that vocal fry that that President Obama does.
Dude. The only thing that was more fun for me was Luther, his anger translator.
Oh, I love that. Gosh, Key and Peele, one of my favorite sketch shows in like probably ever. I mean, God, yeah, Keegan Michael Key has his his anger translator, and I
Hmm.
swear I feel like I see just like browsing YouTube. I feel like there's a new Key and Peele sketch every time I open up YouTube, and I know they haven't been doing this in a while. I don't know where all these sketches are coming from.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know that they were a thing for the
Mm.
longest time. So the first time I ever saw Key and Peele was in the first season of Fargo.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was just like, wow, these guys are great together.
Yeah.
I was like, they've got this wonderful chemistry going on. And my wife was all like, yeah, they have a show together. And I was like, really?
What?
And she's like, yeah, they've had it for years. And I'm like, no, no, you've got to be lying. And then she sent me like 5 clips. And I was just like, oh, well, that does explain it. And they are hilarious.
They have actually been together. I don't know if this is true, if it's like the first time they ever worked together, but like I used to follow them back when they were on Mad TV
Yep.
together, and that was they had this one sketch where it was kind of like you could see the inklings of Key and Peele happening, where they were two dudes in a locker room, and they had all these ridiculous like rituals to break superstitions, so to break bad luck and all that stuff. But it was hilarious. If I could ever find that, I will send it to you.
Word. Yeah, because I mean, as somebody who did also play sports in high school, I fully
Right,
understand that entirely. And then also, too, theater.
right. A lot of
How many?
superstitions, right?
Yeah. No, theater people aren't a superstitious folk. We certainly don't have our own special way of saying good luck. Certainly
Right.
don't have rules about things you say backstage, like a certain Scottish play written by an
Scott.
Englishman, you know?
We don't certainly don't leave a ghost light for people.
No, never. Not at all. None of
Right.
these things.
That's ridiculous. Who would do
Yeah, who would do such a thing? TV people, that's who.
that? Now those guys, if you're
Yeah,
talking about superstitious, I actually
yeah.
don't know too many like TV superstitions.
I don't do TV people have superstitions? I don't know. TV people, do you have superstitions? Call me. I'd love to have you on the show. We could talk all about it. My
Right.
number is no. I think that's gonna how I'm gonna start approaching guests now. Is just assuming they're in my audience. You know, just like sit here and talk and be like, Steven Spielberg, what were you thinking in that one scene in Jurassic Park? I'd love to
Right.
hear your take on it.
I don't think it would be a bad thing.
No, it would be. I think the crazy thing would be if he was watching.
Right.
You know,
Steven.
although I did have a dream last night that I asked Adam Savage to be on the show, and he
That would be
said
so
yes.
badass. That would be so badass.
Yeah, I don't know how, but I was at his house and I was like, "Hey, I have this internet show. Maybe be a guest sometime." And he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." And I was just like, "Okay."
I didn't expect it to be that easy.
Well, it's it's like the Joker says in The Dark Knight. I'm a dog chasing cards. I don't know what to do when I finally get one.
Right. Do I look like a man with a plan?
Yeah, I need to watch that one again. God, he was so good in that movie.
It was honestly gosh. I remember watching it in the theaters and I was like,
Oh
this
my
is
God.
this is amazing. And I mean, I don't say that about a lot of films. I mean, but that was amazing. That performance,
Well,
you know.
I appreciate that he got the Oscar for that role posthumously, but
Right.
I really think he should have gotten it for Brokeback Mountain.
I think so too. I
Uh,
think
be-
so too.
he was excellent in both movies, absolutely. But I think that Brokeback was just I I think his performance was more nuanced and interesting in that movie.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But
And
he is definitely the definitive live action Joker.
right, right, right.
Mark Hamill
I
still wins overall though.
right. Oh, Mark Hamill. Yeah, yeah. You can never live that down. I mean, gosh, Batman TAS, the animated series. That's
Oh yeah.
To this
And
day,
his
that's
work in
still
the Arkham
catchy.
games,
Yeah, yeah. I
dude,
forgot
it's
he did those.
iconic.
I actually have only played the first two. I haven't played Night or is it Origins or
Yeah, I have
yeah, I haven't played.
also only played the first two.
Nice.
Don't feel bad. Dude, there's so many games out there.
There are.
You know,
There's lots.
and then of course right now it's the Steam summer sale.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
trying to be
like
good.
I haven't bought anything.
Oh wow. You're
Yeah, I'm
that's a
well,
paragon. You're a paragon of willpower.
no, it's not so much that I'm a paragon of willpower. It's that I am trying to put money into the show,
Right.
and so
Fair.
that means no money into Steam.
Not even the two or $3 to like the small indie ones.
No. I mean, dude, I don't even want to look over there and find out how many games are in my library that I've never even looked at the store page for.
Yeah, dude. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it.
That and like pretty much, dude, I haven't even played a video game this week.
Really?
Yeah, I've just
Gosh.
been slammed with stuff. I mean, it's like, you know, it's been this is starting to kind of catch on a little bit, and it feels really awesome, you
That's
know,
great.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, like, I've had a bunch of reschedules and stuff, you know, but like at the same time, it's like, uh, just reaching out to all sorts of wonderful people. And then like, you get like people like Brian who are just
Right.
like, hey, you should have all of these people on your show. And I'm
Oh, that's so
like,
cool.
okay, you know,
Brian, you're a good guy, man.
dude, he gets so mad at me too when I don't like know who some of these people are. So like, Brian Cox, who's in chat, is, he was on the show on Monday or whichever day it was now. And he was all like, you need to get Brian Cox on the show. And I'm like, who? And he's like, he's only a great cinematographer. He's like blowing up right now. And I'm like, Brian, you need to chill. You know? And he's like, oh, you should get Earl on the show. And I'm like, Earl? And he's all like, he was in the new Tomb Raider. And I'm like, I haven't played the new Tomb Raider, you know?
It's
You
all
know,
good.
and it's just like, and it's just been, reaching out to all you guys has been super fun because I'm like, I have no idea who you are. And I'm like, hi, please be on my quirky internet show.
That's fine, dude.
And
I don't go around expecting people to know who I am.
dude, I don't either. It's but people do, and it's like I had a fan once at a PAX came up directly to me, and they were
Wow.
like, "Oh man, it's you," and I'm like, "It's me," you know.
Oh, perfect.
How's it going? And they're like, "Can I get my picture with you?" And I'm like, "Okay, just so we're clear, you know that I'm just me, right? And not like
Right.
some other person." They're like, "Oh yeah, 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 yeah," and I'm like, "Okay." And took a selfie with him. And I'm just like, I have a fan.
Yeah.
This is weird.
I don't think I'll ever get over that.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I have some stories about people meeting their fans in public. Uh,
Right.
you know, I've seen a lot firsthand, uh, for no reason other than my own. Although one of my personal favorites was Patrick Fugit from Almost Famous and several other movies.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was waiting in line right behind me and a friend of mine to watch demo for Ghost Recon years ago at E3, and we turned
Yeah.
around and I
Nice.
was like, "You're Patrick Fugit," and he just looked at me like he knows who I am.
Yeah.
And then I was all like, I loved you in Saved. I was like,
Nice.
name a
Oh,
movie
Saved
that
was so
isn't
good.
Almost Famous, you know.
Right.
And we had a fun little chat and everything, and like took a picture. Like yeah, it's a fun time. Patrick Fugit, if you're watching, hop on the show.
Come on the show.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Do you go to E3 every year?
I haven't been for 5 years.
Oh man.
Yeah, the last E3 2015 was the last big game event that I went to.
Got it.
Just it's like it's a long story is the easiest way to put it.
Fair, fair.
I'll
And
prob
it's also got to be like a logistical nightmare getting over there and getting a hotel room. I can only imagine what
you
it's like
know,
for somebody who's out of town.
it's it's less difficult than it seems if you're willing to drop your standards.
Uh, that's how I feel
Um,
about Comic Con.
yeah. But it's because I am very thankful to have a lot of really cool friends in a lot of very different places, and so if I am able to get a flight and a hotel for E3, I just make a couple phone calls and it's like a badge appears.
Oh, that's great.
So
That's so great.
yeah, I'm sure when you're like you can just be all like, yo, IDOS Montreal, hook me up.
Hey guys, you remember me?
I'm that
I would hope so.
supporting, I'm that supporting character in your game that sold lots of copies and was highly successful.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, here I'm still here. If you guys could help me out, that'd be great.
yeah, that would be nice if they did that. Look, um, Nick here in chat, Tom knows everybody. I'm convinced of this. Not quite everybody, but the gist of it comes down to, yeah, one, I'm extremely lucky because I won whatever cosmic lottery that determines who your parents are. Um,
Right.
you know, like flat out. I
Right.
freely acknowledge that. But otherwise too, um, don't be a dick.
Right.
That philosophy will take you far.
It's amazing how some people don't get it.
Yeah, no, man. You go to some shows and people are just like complete garbage, and then they're all like, see you at another show, and they're all like, hey, why didn't you say hi to me, or why didn't you do this? And I was just like, well, I thought it was pretty clear when I walked away from you when you were, treating me like garbage.
Right. Right. No, that's fair. It's very
Why
true.
wasn't I invited to the party? Oh, because it's for people we like. No.
Straight up
Ah,
for people we like.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, and I've also like derped my way into a bunch of friendships as well. Uh where like you just kind of randomly meet people at a thing and then they randomly like you and are like, "Hey, come to dinner with us."
Right.
And I'm like,
That's
"Okay."
that's kind of the magic of cons, I think,
Yeah. But it's one of those things that being a theater kid prepares you for because we
Right.
know the golden rule, never say no.
Right.
You
Yes.
just
Yeah,
kind of
sure, I'll
roll
do it.
with it.
Yeah. Do I have
And
plans? Nah. So yeah, well, let's do this first and see what happens.
yeah, thankfully I haven't gotten invited to like a Satanist sacrifice or anything
Oh,
like that so far. Like
right.
the weirdest thing I've been invited to was uh a dinner for a bunch of Twitch streamers, uh of whom I knew one.
Right.
And I didn't even know I was going to know that one because I wasn't invited. I just showed up with somebody who was.
See, that's great.
And yeah, and I got a second free dinner and that night.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Conventions, man, good times. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Conventions are
seriously
good
though,
times.
number one rule, don't be a dick. Like it's one thing to like be assholish as part of your like sarcastic charm,
Right.
but there's a point where you cross a line, and so long as you don't cross that line, you're golden.
Yeah. Absolutely. Nobody wants to hang out with a dick. That's just how it
No,
is.
no, but everybody loves to hang out with an asshole occasionally. Dude, every group of friends needs one,
Right.
like
You gotta
because
bust your balls.
yeah, exactly. Everybody's got that friend who's all like, "Oh man, that thing you did was great, but if you just did it this way, it could have been excellent."
It was good, but you felt just short of greatness.
Yeah, it's like, hey, maybe if you spent a couple more days at the gym, got a little bit more swole, maybe, maybe you could have lifted that car.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah. The person you're always like, oh man, whatever, you can't do it. And then the best response is always, I never said I could.
Never did.
Yeah, never said I did. Never said I wanted to either. No skin off my back. No.
Right.
Oh man.
It's flowing through life, man. Just
Yeah. So how? So the really the big question I have with the Tomb Raider stuff, trying to get back on topic, which
totally.
is, it's hard. Whatever. You're fun to talk to. Is So you're based out of Los Angeles,
Yeah. Yep.
and they're based out of Montreal.
Right.
So, so were you recording locally in Los Angeles?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we were recording locally in Los Angeles. Basically, it's not like they flew over the entire dev team. They basically flew over like our cinematics director and the writer and I guess you could say like the in-game cinematographer. They flew those people over and worked with us during the big like mocap shoots for the most part. And whenever we had to do stuff in the booth, it was usually over Skype or we were directed over Skype or like the director would be there, just one person. So it was a lot of traveling for those folks,
I guess
and I
it's
got to sit here.
cheaper to. I guess it's cheaper to fly the developers than it is to fly actors.
I guess so. Also, I think a part of it is too. I don't know how all the big motion capture studios I feel like are out here, like Digital Domain, House of Moves, um, uh, James Cameron's um, mocap studio.
Compound. Yeah.
Yeah, Compound. So all that stuff is out here. I'm sure they have like smaller like in-house ones at Eidos or whatever, but or at the individual studios. But for like a big scale shoot, I think they probably want to be out here.
Nice. Yeah, I've only ever seen a couple of motion capture studios. One in Chicago, which was pretty small,
Mm-hmm.
and then in Toronto at the Ubisoft studio there. There's seems quite feature rich, but I don't know, like
Right,
scale wise, how big it is relative to, like you said, Digital Domain, like those purpose built motion
right,
capture companies.
right. Yeah, I've never actually seen the Ubisoft one, so um, I've honestly only ever worked out of a Digital Domain. That's the place I know. So
Man, so what's it like doing motion capture? Because I have a very weird view of it with 3 point tracking. Uh,
right, right, yeah, absolutely.
but like the suits always look silly.
They do.
But
um,
yeah, so like when is I guess a better question would be like, so what's excluding the getting in and getting out of the suit part of it, what is like a daily workload or workflow like from an actor's perspective in this instance?
well, you know, I tell this to people a lot, and it's like I felt very comfortable going into um, motion capture, not because I had a lot of experience going into it, but once I figured out what the process was on set, it very much reminded me of theater in terms of uh, as opposed to when you're working on a film set, um, you have a scene and you have multiple setups for that one scene. You do a master shot, then you do coverage one way, and you do coverage this way, and then you might have inserts and pickups and all this stuff. And you're during this entire process while you're shooting film, you're cutting up the scene. Like the director will be like, "All right, let's do from here to here. Let's start with this." And let's start with this line and go to the end, or we'll just do this line, or we just want like you picking up this or whatever. With motion capture, like performance capture, there's a tendency to run the entire scene, the scene in its entirety, over and over again. and we don't have to worry about things like coverage or necessarily um, framing so much because everything is captured by like all the hundreds of cameras like
Yeah.
capturing all the balls. So it's because it's capturing in 3D. Coverage is less of a problem, and you just kind of get to sit there and worry about the acting a little more.
Neat.
Yeah, it's cool. I dig it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz it's, one of those things too, as a drama student in college, uh
Right,
like it seems like they should almost be pushing this kind of like motion capture, performance capture kind of uh uh workflow forward as, something, hey,
right,
maybe I could call the university that's just north of me and be like, I'm a performance capture teacher.
right.
You
I
know.
think, yeah. I mean, it would be interesting because, it's another thing. You're a little more cognizant of what you look like physically or how you're moving. I think with motion capture, just because you it is really capturing every little kind of nuance of your movement. So whatever little ticks you might think you didn't have, it shows up when you look at the screen. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I walked like that, or I didn't know my arms swung that much while I'm standing still, or things like that.
Yeah, that I can fully understand as I'm generally watching my performance in real time from the camera perspective.
Right,
And I'm
absolutely.
like, what are my hands doing? Is that okay? Is this okay? Oh, they don't line up with the armrests, but yeah,
Right.
you know.
I always say that that's I'm gonna that's one of the possible titles of my memoirs is what do I do with my hands? Because if I'm looking at like pictures of myself, my hands are like I don't know what to do with them, and it's I don't know, it's a thing.
Well, hands are wonderful, wonderful tools that are also stupid. Because like clearly if you're not doing something with them, like holding something or opening something, they just do whatever they want to do.
Right, they're kind of just floating around. You can kind of gesticulate with them, but like how does that show up on like in the still camera?
Yeah. Yeah. Stupid hands, especially
Stupid.
mine that don't animate 100% properly. I accidentally flip people off in the audience all the time.
You really?
I tell them it's an accident. I mean, um,
Shh!
yeah,
Don't reveal my truths.
yeah, yeah. That part was off the record. I turned off the stream for a moment, didn't I? Uh,
That's all right.
yeah. Well, one of the last questions I really had for you was, what is lumpia and why does it look amazing? And I'm not
So
referring to the food, I'm referring to the film.
right. So Lumpia is uh I'm actually streaming with them tomorrow, but the director his name is Patricio Janelsa, and as a kid growing up in Daly City, he always wanted to be a filmmaker. So he would write scripts, him and his brother, and he would film things with the kids in the neighborhood. And one of the last things and probably biggest projects they undertook was the first Lumpia movie that they shot when I think he was in high school. So they shot that. The footage lay dormant for like a few years until Patricio met AJ. AJ Calamai is actually a an editor right now. He worked on Mr. Robot, Legends of Tomorrow, some other projects as well. And they met when they were like a little bit after college. He saw the footage from the original Lumpia and was like, I can cut this together into a feature film. And this was in the early 2000s. So fast forward 13, 14 years, I've been working with these guys on like commercial specs and smaller projects, music videos, and they're like, "Hey, dude, we want to make a sequel to the first film." And I was like, "Okay." what do you need me to do? And they brought me on in a writing capacity, just to like kind of break story and support them in terms of um, in the story writing process. And so it's a sequel to this original home video feature film, except we kickstarted it, or like crowdfunded it for a couple. I want to say couple hundred, maybe 100 something grand. And we have been working on this since 2013, if I remember correctly, just trying to get funding, but also writing and getting production together. We finally got it into can for the most part in 2017, and this entire time has been pickups and a little bit of reshoots and VFX, because the film is called Lumpia with a Vengeance, and Lumpia with a Vengeance is a it's about a vigilante crusader who patrols the streets of Fogtown, which is a stand-in for Daly City, and tries to bust a crime syndicate, a drug ring, and his weapon is Lumpia. He is mute. He can't speak, but it's an action comedy, so there's going to be a lot of VFX. There's a lot of stunts,
And
and
Danny
it's been a long
Trejo.
process. And Danny Trejo, yeah, and Danny Trejo.
You, I
So
saw him on the cast list, and I was like, "This movie's got me."
he's
Because I
he's in the
mean,
trailer at some. He's there.
yeah, no, I saw the trailer, but like I first was looking through the cast list, and I was like, because I was looking for you for one, and then two,
Right.
it's just like you're looking through, it, and I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
You know, like he adds instant credibility to literally anything.
Right. It's Danny Trejo, man.
Well,
That dude.
he's yeah, he's like the Hispanic Sam Jackson.
Right. Right. I never thought about that, but that's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's like he's in everything, kind of like
Right.
Sam
Right.
Jackson. He looks like he's having fun in
Yeah.
everything, like
Absolutely.
Sam Jackson, and he has this built-up image of being like this just badass,
Very true. Very true.
you know, and that's based, you know, like I mean, it's very simplistic, but you know, that's who he is.
Yeah. And I mean, whenever I see him on screen, I know I'm in for a good time. Is
Yeah,
what. Same with Sam Jackson. When you see
yeah,
him, you're gonna be entertained.
at the very least.
Right.
I mean, at least until he gets eaten by a giant shark.
Yeah. Right.
After
Yes.
talking about avalanches.
Deep Blue Sea. Was that the
Up,
one?
sorry, Deep Blue Sea spoilers.
Sorry.
Yeah, I, I'm not really sorry. It's only the third best shark movie.
What are your first? Well, Jaws, of course.
Jaws is very clearly number one.
Right.
You know, but number two is the Meg.
I was gonna say, is it the Meg?
It
Because
is
that
the
movie
Meg.
is actually pretty legit.
Yeah, no, it was like I mean, it's legit because it didn't take itself seriously.
Right.
It
Right.
knew it was kind of a joke. Well, it knew not that it was a joke. It knew it wasn't a serious movie.
Right. Right.
You
It had a
know,
lot of.
yeah. I've watched that movie like 2 or 3 times now because it is just fun. And
I
because
have seen it like a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, I mean, dude, and the cast is dope.
Yeah, the cast is great. It's
Like, I mean, you know, Jason Statham is
yeah,
awesome.
Statham,
Ruby Rose is
Rose,
great.
uh,
The Rainn Wilson,
Rainn Wilson. That's right.
dude, he's so excellent in that movie. It's like if
He's
you know, like what would happen to Dwight if you gave him a moderate amount of social skills and $1 billion,
it's so true.
and bam, Rainn Wilson in the Meg. But yeah,
Uh,
that whole movie's excellent.
it is. I love it. My nephew was into sharks, and for a year and a half, I want to say that was his favorite movie, and it was always on the TV. So I saw it a lot, and I
Hey
never really
man,
got tired of it. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's eminently watchable.
right, right. It's a good way to put it.
You know, like don't get me wrong, Jaws is great, but I can't sit down and just watch it again and again and again because
No.
there's, you know, like Jaws is a heavy movie in its way.
Yeah, Yeah, I was gonna say that it's very, very heavy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's one of my top 5 movies of all time. You
Right.
know, uh, I, I was shown that movie at either 4 or 5 years old, and yeah, not afraid of sharks, and I have scuba certification, so
Right.
yeah,
That's
and
pretty cool.
it's like, damn, dude, like they really just had fun making the Meg. This is honestly the nerdiest episode yet, and I love it. Yeah, yeah, we're pretty nerdy here, man. But I mean, at the same time, this is something I haven't mentioned yet. But
Right.
I believe, if I read correctly, you're also one of the co-hosts of the Pan Geekery podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
So what do you expect with those kinds of credentials,
I I could talk about nerdy things ad nauseum, and I mean that's why I'm a co-host of that podcast.
dude?
It's
Yeah,
it's yeah,
I
I
made
could
a
talk.
podcast where I get to pretend to be a robot.
Right, right. That's the
Yes.
best.
Yeah. It was, a friend of mine was like, where all this originally came from. A friend of mine was all like, yo, you're kind of smart and you like a bunch of nerdy stuff. So how do we turn that into a YouTube show? And it eventually led to this.
That's perfect. And you got the
Yeah.
tech to make you assembled the tech to make it work, which is great.
Yeah. It was, it's owed all to Star Wars.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, because Rogue One uh,
Hmm.
used Unreal Engine to do a lot of their previs for
Nice.
K2.
Right, right.
So I knew that there was a way to take motion capture stuff from, the outside world to animate something in the game engine.
Right,
And
right.
so once we kind of figured out that first hurdle,
Hmm.
it then became, how do we produce it quickly and all that stuff. And originally it was like, it took forever, like, because we weren't doing it in real time. We were doing everything pre-render, or we were rendering everything. And so,
Got
like,
it.
say a 10-minute show would take like 30 minutes to process, and then the a couple hours to render. And just, I mean, this
Right.
is with solid hardware, but
Right.
now I just do it in real time, and I don't have to worry about all that stuff. And my shows can be as long as I want them.
Dude, that's so freaking cool. It's so freaking cool. Have you been keeping up with like the LED backdrop stuff like they use in the Mandalorian?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Y- yeah, I am friends with a few people on the Epics community team. And
Nice.
so, like, my Facebook and Twitter feeds, whenever there's something new about what UE4 is being used for in virtual production, they're like, "Oh, hey,
Yeah.
check out this cool BTS for how it was used on The Mandalorian, or how they used it for Rise of Skywalker." And I'm just like,
Oh,
"All right, I'm down, dude."
it's
They've been
so
using it for like Westworld too, and like,
have they?
yeah, I don't remember exactly what. I'm not looking too into it because I'm not fully caught up on Westworld, and I don't want
Got
to
it.
like spoil anything. But just knowing that
Right.
they are, I'm like,
Dude, that's so
because
cool.
Westworld's so good.
I haven't caught up with I'm like maybe one or two episodes into season 3. I really liked season 2 at
You're
least
further than me. I have
right.
like 2 episodes left in season 2.
Oh, all right, all right.
Yeah, no, man. I do. It is the best. Like, that is the adaptation of Ghost in the Shell
It
that
is.
should have been made.
It is. It really is. Did
I
you
mean,
get to the Ghostwalker
yes,
episode? Oh,
that's the
one
best
of the
episode
best
of the
episodes of the season.
show.
Oh my god. I loved it so much.
Dude, I have goosebumps thinking about that episode.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I was thinking about it as well. I love that episode so much.
God, it's so good because it's like, you look at it and quite literally none of the guests pay attention to those hosts.
Right.
The
Right.
guests don't pay attention, the park staff doesn't pay attention, and it's just like, and then all of a sudden they were given this huge, just extra layer of dimension and character, and it's just like,
Hmm.
why wasn't the show about these guys to begin with?
Yeah, I know, right? They're so interesting.
Yeah,
The
like
fact,
Maeve
sorry.
is excellent. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, she's like my favorite character.
Yeah.
Um, Dolores is cool and all, but like, I personally think that Maeve's journey to self-actualization is more interesting.
I agree. I'm
Um,
Maeve.
yeah, dude, I stand Maeve. I
Yeah,
think that's what the kids are saying with on the internet these days.
I'm a
You
simp
know,
for Maeve. Yeah, yeah, totally.
and oh god, Jeffrey Wright's character is named Bernard.
Yeah, I love him too.
Dude, he's so good on that show.
Yeah, he's great.
Like Jeffrey Wright's just excellent. Don't get me wrong, but like, man, he gets a lot to play with on that show.
Right. I
Yeah.
honestly, I really loved Dolores early on, and even maybe like in the first half of season 2. But then something just switched for me, and I was like,
She kind
I
of
don't know
went,
where she's going right now.
yeah, she kind of like went full warlord,
Right, right,
and like that's cool for like a movie about like Attila the Hun or like Julius Caesar or something, but
right.
yeah, that kind of seemed counter to the arc they were working with her on. But I mean, I haven't watched season 3, so maybe it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything because you
Also,
should.
Tessa Thompson is wonderful in the show, and Ed
Yes, she is.
Harris, and just like, dude, that I don't know half the names of the people on that show, but like, I feel like they should be household names. That's how good everyone is.
Everybody's great. I could never ever say anything bad about the acting in this show. It's
No,
so good. Yeah.
no, like, the two guys who work in like the cleanup department are two of my favorite characters.
Oh, Leo. Is that Leo Nam? And
Yeah, yeah, like those guys are
Sebastian.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just that little bit where he's like, "Hey, why can't you talk to the samurai host?" And he's like, "I'm from Hong Kong," and I was just like, that was the
Yeah.
funniest. And I was like, we
Dick.
all know that white guy who thinks everybody from Asia speaks every language.
Oh my gosh. I
You
was on
know?
this set once, and I'm not gonna put these people on blast, but we were doing this comedy bit, and it was a bunch of different. They had hired a whole bunch of different like Asian dudes, and one of the writers came up to us and was like, "Hey guys, is there a song like an Asian song you could sing?" And we're all like, "We're kind of like no, there's not like a fucking a pan Asian song." We're all so fucking confused, and they're sitting there like, "What?"
What?
Yeah, just like
Yeah, we all got together a few hundred years ago and said, you know what? Let's write a big song.
yeah, let's write a big Asian song, despite the fact we don't speak the same language.
Don't speak the same languages, frequently at odds with each other, just like
Mhm.
everyone everywhere.
Right,
Did you turn around and go, "Hey, could you guys sing us a European song?"
right. I just think I was so like flabbergasted at the time. I was like really young in the industry still, and I was like, I don't know how to respond to that.
Well,
What's
those times in life you have those perfect moments to like throw like a stupid joke back at people, and
right?
at least personally speaking, like only 1 in 10 do I ever have the wherewithal to do it. Like one at Starbucks, I had a lady come up to me and she just purchased a bag of chips, and she's like, "How do you open these?"
What?
And I just was like, "With your hands." I was like, "You're gonna ask a stupid question." And like I was really glad that I managed to pull that off, because any
Right,
other day of the week I probably would have been like, "Just let me get that for you," and I'm just like, "No, with your
right.
hands." Those stupid things that do just who knows what when we're not paying attention to them.
Oh my gosh, I can't even. How do you open this? I can't.
Yeah, no, man, you get some of the dumbest questions working at a coffee shop.
I can imagine. I've never worked food service, but I have worked retail,
Oh
and
God, retail's terrible too.
yeah, and I've worked help desk. So holy crap.
I haven't done help desk, but I did teach people how to copy paste
Ooh,
in
that's
2014.
that's a lot of that's more work than it sounds.
Yeah, no, I was working at a community mental health center. I worked on the residential addictions program, and
Right.
I was, one of the like higher ups because I was basically just a glorified babysitter.
Got it.
Just enforcing rules and making sure people didn't escape, stuff like that.
Right.
And
Right.
not that we were holding them against their will, but people would rather try and escape than sign themselves out. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was just copy pasting stuff from one thing to another, alt tabbing, just like all the normal stuff that people know, and or I thought people knew.
Right.
And the social worker was like, "Hey, what did you just do there?" And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, did I just do something without like noticing it? And I was like, I just, took the thing from here to there. And they're like, yeah, but how did you do it so fast? And I was like, I just copy pasted. And they're like, what? And I was
What
just like,
is this magic?
and I was like, well, I know what I'm doing for the next 15 minutes. You know,
So
uh,
they didn't even know of the concept of copy and pasting. Is that what you're
yeah.
saying?
And I mean,
Oh
it's,
man.
yeah, and it's like, but then again, it's just like there are some of these things where it's just, like just generations of people just who hit like adulthood and started their careers before computers were completely ubiquitous, and then
Right.
like the people who are like coming into like adulthood nowish, who
Right.
grew up on things like tablets, and it's like they don't know how to use computers.
That's true. I never even thought about that. Like people who grew up on tablets. I mean, there's copy and paste functions, things like that, but
Yeah,
it's definitely different than it is like using a computer.
yeah. Like,
Uh,
I'm sure we're overgeneralizing by saying it's like it's everyone, but
right.
it's at least the kids who are presently teenagers to young adults that I directly interact with now, which is my niece and nephews, have no clue how to operate an actual computer.
Right. Right. Gosh,
Yeah,
that's kind of a trip to think
it,
about it.
yeah, it is. Like, God, man, computers are great though.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I want to like build my nephew a computer because like you need to learn how to use this thing. you know.
Yeah, and dude, and like everybody goes like, one, you're awesome for building a computer, uh
Right.
because like everybody thinks that it's some arcane ritual,
Oh no, I know
and I'm
it's
like,
true.
dude, it's adult Legos. Put the stuff where it fits, read instructions.
I that's hilarious because I've used the same analogy. It's like Legos. It is Legos
Yeah,
because everything only goes. There's only one way you can put one like everything. You know.
yeah, it's Legos on a PCB.
Yeah. You can't put anything in wrong anymore. It's not like
Well,
back in
except
the
for
day.
the CPU, like you can royally screw those up, but
Right. That's true.
but like still you follow instructions, you be careful, and you don't go too quickly, and yeah, it's easy.
Right. Everybody
And
definitely thinks like it's like you said some arcane ritual like
yeah,
lost the instructions are lost to the passages of time but
like
um
the hardest
no
part is the wiring for me personally. you
like
know
wire wrangling for it.
Yeah, why just like the various connectors on motherboards.
Right.
Cuz like, you know, the script is so tiny,
Right.
and
Right.
the yeah, and it's just yeah, all the fan headers and all that stuff, and like USB headers, like
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
because it's always like the last thing too, and it's just like I'm so done. I just want to hit the power button and install Windows already.
you have the motherboard instruction manual out and you're like okay this is this but what orientation am I looking it in because I can't see the plus and the negative on these jumpers right now.
Yeah, but then once you get that all sorted out, like it's just like done.
Yep.
You know. But
And you hit the power button, you wait for it to post, and you hope that it beeps, or else like you have another couple hours of troubleshooting.
well, I try to be really good at reading instructions, and
Okay.
thankfully, because I have developed that skill, both of the two times I've done solo builds have posted on the first try.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah,
I hope
that
it
was
continues.
I was nervous too because like I was following Paul's Hardware on YouTube. I was following his
Right.
tutorial for how to do it because like his delivery's really dry, but like dude, he like gets facts like nobody else. You
Oh,
know,
it's
I love
hardware. I
his
don't think
channel.
I should check it out.
Yeah, he does. He's a really cool dude. And then he also like he used to work at Newegg, and then there's Bitwit Kyle, who's also very good. Who's like kind of like
Nice.
the opposite number of Paul. So like where Paul is like all about like the information and all that stuff, Kyle's all about like the jokes and the lulls.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I follow a lot of tech YouTubers because I am a bit of a nerd.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
I should follow more tech.
I embrace it, sir.
I follow, I think, like Linux tips
Oh,
and
Linus Tech tips or Linux
oh,
tips?
Linus Tech tips. My bad.
I do like.
And
Well, he did the Linux video yesterday, so.
oh, right, right. But I love just the crazy stuff they do, like trying to put like quad 1080s
Oh
into one
god.
computer.
Yeah, the like 8 gamers, one CPU build, and
Right, right. All that stuff.
dude, yeah. Well, it's because of their reviews that I went with an AMD processor for my latest build, actually, too.
Oh, nice. Did you get which one? Ryzen
Uh,
73700?
I'm on the. I did my build now, like a year and a half ago, so it's a 2700X.
Nice.
But
That's a
I
good
mean,
processor.
yeah, it's. I can hear the cooler on it going right now. It's busting its little butt right now. But
That's great.
I'm pretty sure people in chat can say I'm not dropping any frames. So
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that.
that's the
Smooth.
important part. Dude, if you knew how many programs I run to get this show going,
I can
it's
I can
flat out
imagine
insane.
because
Uh,
even on just my end when I'm streaming, I'm already all right. It's OBS and then like Chrome or whatever browser I'm using at the time, and then whatever game I'm using. But and that'll put me pretty close to 99% on my CPU, and I can only imagine what this is like.
well, thankfully, Unreal is not optimized for multi core CPUs.
Mm,
So it's really only using a single core or
really?
minimal usage across multiple cores. And
Wow.
then, of course, but then running that in tandem with Streamlabs, in tandem with Skype,
Right.
you know, all that, that's the stuff that's taxing the multi core,
Right.
you
You're
know.
basically nickel and diming your CPU.
Yeah, but I mean, all I'm doing on it right now is I'm talking to you, and I have a virtual window up in my virtual environment where I can monitor
Right.
stream chat as well.
Nice. Beautiful.
As I'm sure that at this point they're all like, "Yo, you guys have like crossed into a threshold of nerd they weren't ready for."
This is very easy to. This very easily happens with me.
Dude, um, I I I think there is a friendship building here.
I agree.
Um, yeah, because one, you make wacky art, as evidenced by Lumpia.
Right.
Shoot, that movie looks insane. I love it. Um,
Thanks, man.
you were in now 3 Tomb Raider games, which is awesome. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I'd ask you to do something silly if a fourth one was happening, but I know that what video game NDAs look like, so I won't even make a joke about it.
Right. Right.
Uh, and we've got the shared theater thing, so it's like hey,
Hey,
match made in heaven. You know,
I know. And now we're
if you
talking
ever
about
need a
computers.
guy, need a guy to play a computer, give me a call.
I'll
You know where to
definitely
find
think
me.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I'll put
Yeah.
it in my virtual Rolodex.
Oh, or now as we just call it, the contacts app.
Oh yeah,
Can you imagine
that's
if we
true.
actually called it like the Rolodex?
The virtual Rolodex.
Yeah, or if it just like like we have it in it's in contacts, or like what if it was instead of being called contacts, it was called like Little Black Book. Like
Right.
what
Right.
some anachronism that people like when we say we're recording and they're all like, "Oh, I'm gonna tape it." Like kids don't know what tape is.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Kids don't know what tape is. It's like the save icon on some programs. It's still a floppy disk, right?
Yeah. Dude, I remember when floppy disks were actually floppy.
Yeah, yeah. The
That
5.2,
was so great.
555s,
And they would just be like,
512K.
that was so awesome. And we were all like, oh man, this thing has like 400 kilobytes of data on it. We're never going to use that. Now I'm live streaming a multi-gigabyte file.
Right. Exactly. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, like it's nothing, and with a watch on my wrist with more computing power than went to the moon.
Right. Exactly. I
Uh
think people don't appreciate the scale sometimes.
dude, we've done some crazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the fact that this is possible. Like even 10 years ago,
Yeah.
5 years ago, Twitch streaming at this level,
Oh
with this
god.
kind of like fidelity and like bit rate, it was probably impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching Twitch streams 5, 6 years ago and like seeing the streamers who like clearly had the money in their setup when they would have like a chroma key set up, and I'd be like, this guy's
Right.
legit.
Look at that.
You know, that guy's in his game. You know, like God, like they were so cool. I mean, they still are because very clearly, with the exception of a few people, pretty much everybody who is a big streamer back 5, 6 years ago is still a pretty big streamer now.
Right. They're probably massive now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like Kriparian, the Hearthstone and former World of Warcraft player, like a few years ago, he was averaging, like a couple hundred viewers per stream. Now he's averaging like a couple thousand.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's
very true.
nuts.
I think I was I mean, I followed Dratnos
Mhm.
and I always like I see his streams and he's like, in the tens of thousands. I mean, he's kind of like the word on WoW right now on metagaming, but like still that's a lot of people.
Yeah, no, that's nuts, man. Like it's not like TV numbers, but at the same time, like TV doesn't have anywhere. Well, TV has zero interactivity.
Right, absolutely.
Like imagine if like the nightly news had to respond to chat.
Oh god. They would not be ready for it. I don't think they're trained for that,
No,
you know?
they're not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Wolf Blitzer and no, Big Guy 427. This is not a clip-on tie. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
like I kind of want that news now.
I do too. I want to see what happens. I just want to see as a social experiment what would happen.
Yeah, yeah. I think we
Like
have
now
an
you
idea
have to
for a
answer
silly
to the
internet
masses
sketch.
that you're reporting to,
Yeah, I think we have an idea for an internet sketch right there.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I did.
probably do. I
I
think that
have
could
an
be
unused news set.
really.
Yeah. Oh man, I have so many sets that I haven't even used for this show because it takes like 20 minutes to build one.
Got it. You have
Yeah.
to render it. That's right. Yeah.
No, I'm not even rendering it. Like I'm running this all in real time.
Jesus. Jeez.
Like the hardest thing, the thing in this set that took the longest to set up, aside from like all of like the bells and whistles I have to make it run on my end, which,
Right.
once it runs, once I figure out how to do that once, it's like basically copy paste, was
Mhm.
building that picture frame to get that picture up there.
You mean the Super Mario World map
Yeah.
here? Oh wow.
Yeah, I had to specially model it to get it to fit all that stuff. Nick in chat says he would watch our Twitch news show.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, it'd be fun. I'll be like, and over to our man on the street, Mr. Earl Balon, and top comment of the day is, "Don't ask me for directions ever." Ha 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 ha. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
By the way, this the fact that you have the Super Mario World map behind you is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, that is actually a 3D sculpt by an artist called VR_human on
Nice.
Twitter, and he sculpted that in VR. And I forget the name of the program, but it's one of the Google programs. I think like
Wow,
shapes or something like that. Yeah, I'll do when we're done here. I will message you the YouTube video of him doing that.
that's so trippy. That's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
right?
Yeah,
Like, no, man, dude, this guy's nuts. His virtual art isn't well, his virtual reality art is
right.
amazing. And when I started the show, I was like, "Hey, can I use that in my backdrop?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he's like, "You can use any of my art." And
What?
I'm like, "Cool, yeah, dude." I told you he's a cool dude, you know.
Yeah,
But I'm definitely not using somebody's art without permission. So
right. Because that happens so much.
yeah, it does. I mean, and like, do anybody ever ask about that? Like, first thing I do on stream is like, "Well, that's made by my friend Vlad," you know. And
Right, right,
like, dude,
right.
I'll even, the 3D assets for the most part in here, are from asset packs I purchased on the Unreal Store from Cinti Studios. I'll give them that free
Nice,
shout out. I don't care,
nice.
you know.
It's because you're a good
Although,
guy.
yeah, the head though, that's mine. I made the head.
Hmm. Did you model it in Unreal?
No, Maya.
Maya, nice.
Yeah, I know just enough 3D modeling to be slightly dangerous and moderately artistic.
That's all you really need.
Yeah.
Um, Towards the beginning of this of quarantine, I was actually trying to learn Blender because it's free, and
Well, if you want to learn Blender, you should talk
yeah.
to Mr. Nixodemus1 there in chat. He's
Oh,
a
nice.
bit of a masochist and even uses Blender to make games.
Wow,
Yeah, I
wow.
don't know why he does it either.
I'm gonna check that out later. Definitely.
Yeah, he's definitely the guy to talk to. Also, he won the team pitcher game community award for being like the person who best represented our community today too. So,
Nice. Very
I'll
cool,
throw a little shade, but then I'll also bring the lightness with it.
man. Oh,
Gotta.
100%
That's
support
why I'm
you.
an asshole and not a dick.
Right. It's a very fine line, and I feel like you're writing it perfectly.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can either play it too safe or too dangerous, but when you play the line just right, like man, that makes you memorable.
Very true.
Well, I think I think we should probably get on to the 5 questions.
Ooh, the 5 questions.
So for everyone in chat and for you, Earl, just in case you are unaware,
Right.
uh, although Nick tells me he's going to get me for that blender joke later. Bring it.
Bring it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Whatever. It's all in good fun. I'm not scared. You know, Still waiting for that cheer wine though. Oh shoot, I didn't send him the money. Never mind. Never mind.
No.
My bad.
Ooh,
Um,
cheerwine is fucking delicious.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
love
was
that
on the
stuff.
show a few weeks ago, and he's in North Carolina. I was like, yo, if I send you some money, can you get me some cheer wine? Because it's hard to find outside of North Carolina.
Is it now? I never. The only that's you're probably absolutely correct because the last time I remember having cheerwine was from one of the food trucks out here. One of my favorite food trucks out here,
Was it
but
a
they're no
barbecue food
longer around.
truck?
No, they were called Fry Smith, and they had just like interesting kind of combinations of fries. They would have sweet potato and like a jerk chicken or whatever. My favorite was they had it was pommes frites.
Yeah,
So and then they would put kurabota pork and kimchi and cheese on top. It's my favorite thing
you had
that
me
they
until
did.
kimchi, man. I'm just not a fan.
That's fair. I know it's definitely an acquired thing.
Well, it's like, some things are great pickled, but like
Right.
there's a limit to how much pickling you should do. And it's
Yeah.
like kind of like, some of the traditional Norse and Scandinavian foods where it's like, hey,
Oh,
this
right.
animal is poisonous, so let's like
What is
let
that
it dry
called?
in the sun for 8 months and then it'll only make our tongues bleed.
Right. What is that called? It's
Oh, well, lutefisk is the big
lutefisk.
one that everyone
Right.
remembers. The one I was specifically referring to is their recipe for Greenland shark.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which is a legitimately it's a toxic food, and
Right.
they dry age it in their silly cold Iceland winds,
Right.
and then it gets less toxic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But, who am I to judge? I come from the land of people who thought mashed potatoes were, the height of culinary excellence. That's not
Mashed potatoes are
true.
still pretty good though.
Yeah, mashed potatoes are great. And also, like, blood sausage is pretty legit.
I love blood sausage.
Word. Like everybody's home has like that one food that's excellent.
Right.
America, we have burgers. My Irish heritage has blood sausage. My German
Mm.
heritage has Wiener Schnitzel,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like everybody's got great food, you know.
Yeah. There's
Nobody
actually
has
just weird
bad
things.
food.
No, because who wants to eat bad food?
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, don't get me wrong. Like, people will say like England, oh, they have fish and chips. And I'm like, one, fish and chips is delicious.
Right.
Two, if that's not exotic for you enough, they also have shepherd's pie,
I
which,
love shepherd's pie too.
while not necessarily exotic, is
Right.
delicious.
Right.
And it was like, what if we put a stew in mashed potatoes?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, give me a plate of it. I'm ready to go.
All the time.
Yeah, right? But
Gosh, I'm just thinking. I think I have the ingredients. I think I could make it tomorrow.
dude, I had fish and chips for lunch. So, dude, that's the
All
one
the
nice thing
things.
about like Wisconsin is like fish and chips is an institution here.
Right.
Yeah, like Friday fish fry is like the thing to do. I had a guest
That
on.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, no, man, it's excellent. Like, come up sometime, like anytime, and like
Right.
the free publicity train again. Old German Beer Hall, Old World
Mm-hmm.
3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee. Best
Mm-hmm.
fish fry, in my opinion, in the entire state.
Gosh,
So,
I'm gonna
but
write that.
again,
I'm gonna go back and write
opinion.
that down later.
Um, but so the 5 questions.
The 5 questions. Got it.
Number one,
Mm-hmm.
who really built the pyramids?
Um, who really built the pyramids? I'm gonna say, uh, probably a mixture of Nubian and Jewish slaves.
All right. There might be a slight theme to the 5 questions today.
Got it.
Let me know at the end if you can catch on.
Right, right, right.
Number two, what do you think will be the next big thing in cell phones?
Uh, let's see. Next big thing in cell phones.
And bye, Nick. Have a wonderful day.
I would say, and this is kind of started already, but I think there's going to be like more motion tracking like involved. I think that's
All
where we're
right.
going to go.
All right. Number three,
Yeah.
after the show, can you tell me where Atlantis really is?
After the show?
Yes.
Yes.
Not on
I,
the
I,
record. They
I
don't
could,
need to know.
right. I could totally do that.
All
Yeah,
right.
I could, yeah.
Number four. Nope. There we are. Number four. Do you think we'll get anything that resembles a baseball season this year?
No.
Yeah, I'm
I
kind
know.
of on that same
It's,
boat with you. I'm
it's so
sad
late.
because I
It's
like
so late.
baseball.
Yes, I like baseball too.
Yeah, we're
Because,
like
gosh,
legit at All-Star break time right now.
right. Yeah. We're, because, and, come when we hit like September, October, that's already playoff season. I mean, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, 2020 is a wash for that one.
For a lot of things.
And number five, the last question.
The last question.
Does it belong in a museum?
I'm going to go with one of my eminent idols, Indiana Jones, when he said yes, it does belong in the museum. Well,
All right.
depending on how it was acquired, I guess. But
Yeah. Did you pick up on the theme?
archaeology.
Yeah, yeah. I actually Googled, I was like, archaeology questions. And unfortunately, they were all like really serious ones.
Right.
And I was like, what does an archaeologist do? And I'm like, no, I'm not asking that garbage question.
Right.
Like, is that a good question? Yes, for a college professor.
Exactly.
but neither of us are college professors here.
No,
And the
no.
last I checked, this was a show that was supposed to be funny.
Right. I hope so.
Maybe I can, like I'll next guest I'll ask about like some risk management or something like that. So,
Project coordination.
Jerry, that risk management material you wrote me was gold.
Can you imagine? To the vast untapped, reservoir of comedy.
Yeah, I mean, just all those actuaries who just want somebody to call some attention to their struggles.
I think wasn't there an actuary in was it Along Came Polly? Ben Stiller movie. He was
God,
an actuary, I think.
I just like threw that word out because it sounds like one of the most boring jobs possible. Like, one of those jokes on TV where it's like, I just ask what you do at work to help put me to sleep.
Right, right.
Ah, good times. Well, Earl, it's been great.
Yeah, dude, this has been a lot of fun, man. I appreciate this.
Oh, no problem, man. Thank you for being here. We appreciate having you. And I appreciate having somebody that I can sit down and talk about the Meg with and not immediately get laughed out of the room.
Right.
So, you
Fair.
know,
Far
so,
between, I'm pretty sure.
oh, dude, this is such a fun movie. Um, can I track that down and watch that tonight? Maybe.
It would not be a day wasted, I think.
Oh, no. It's just a matter of like, is it still streaming on a streaming service I have access to is really the hard part,
Fair question.
you know. But well, Earl, before we go, where can people find you?
So, I am on on all socials, so Twitter, um, Facebook, Instagram at Early Be Good. That's spelled like Johnny Be Good because I play guitar, and that's EARLYBGOODE. That's also my Twitch channel, and all my projects are linked there as well. So
Cool.
everything is at Early Be Good.
Nice. Well, once again, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure. It was fun. Did we talk about stuff we were supposed to talk about? But you know what? Again, it's supposed to be a fun show, and I
Yes,
feel that fun was had.
I agree. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
This was
absolutely,
great.
dude. Come back anytime.
For sure. I would love to. I'll get my camera like squared away next time.
Nice, and then hey, you're an actor. Maybe like we'll like get in all nice and tight, and then like maybe some like makeup to match your baller neo barbarian here.
You're right. Indeed, that'd be
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, because that's saved. That's going nowhere. Like, I mean,
Right.
it will
Thank you.
go off the couch, but I'll be just like, bam, right back on the couch with it.
Boom. Neo Barbarian.
Pretty much, man. I think that's a possible internet show right there, Neo Barbarian. Not to be confused with Barbarian Neo.
Right. Ooh.
I
Definitely
know
some
Cave
connection.
Fu.
I know. The Keanu Sans.
Dude, he's so great. I'd love to have him on the show too. He'd do it too, because he'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I could do it. I don't
Because
have.
he just loves to have fun, that guy.
Yeah, it seems like
And I'd be like, hey man, I love John Wick. Can I be in John Wick 4?
it.
What's up?
That's real question.
Yeah, you can beat the crap out of me. I don't care.
Yeah,
I just want to be in the movie. Shoot me like 50 times.
yeah, it's random dude. I
Yeah.
don't even have to show my face. The back of my head.
Yeah. Like I'll wear a mask. Oh, yeah, man. All over that mask. Yeah.
Right.
I just want to work with you for a day. Figure it'd be fun.
It would be excellent. I think.
Yeah, right? I am looking forward to whenever Bill and Ted actually comes out. But
Same here.
one day.
One day.
But until then, I must bid adieu to you, good sir.
I shall bid adieu to you as well and express my gratitude for having me on the show.
And I was just trying to come up with like a appropriate Key and Peele response because you definitely reminded me of Keegan Michael Key's DM right there. And I was like, I don't think that it's appropriate for me to do Jordan Peele's I want to go to the bar and get some bitches. I don't think that's appropriate. You know, like I just not appropriate. You know,
Oh
not
man.
the right climate for that. See, that was funny and okay because everybody thought I was going to do it horribly, but instead, I made it a joke about me.
Right. True.
That yeah, see, it's not hard to not be an asshole.
Right.
It just takes an extra 3 milliseconds of thought.
Yeah. Should this be said?
No,
Maybe.
but you can make fun of the saying of it.
Right. Exactly. Like this shouldn't be said, so I'm not going to say it. But I was going to say this.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's like, yeah. So, well, now it's time for me to cut to the camera over here. And to you, my audience, I say, thank you for joining us. I truly have one of the best studio audiences here on all of Twitch. No offense, Earl.
That's all good.
So thank you guys for being here, especially those of you who were here earlier today and were here for like the double header of me. Don't worry, I'd be bored of it too. Only thing really coming up is I've got Sonia Alexander at Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be talking about her indie game Liberté. And then I'll talk about who's coming up next week on Sunday. So until then, everybody, have a wonderful time. Happy 4th of July to my American friends, family, visitors, viewers, all those people. And until then, I'll see you next time on That Tom Clancy Show.